Hello, it's Sunday morning here. I'm just finishing off my coffee. I'm trying to get myself geared up to go outside and do chores, which I don't know why it takes me a little bit of time to get. It's almost like gearing yourself up to work out or something. I love doing it once I get out there, but just, I don't know, getting the boots on and everything sort of sometimes takes me a little bit of time. Last week I introduced you to the breeding groups. This week I'm going to give you an update on the breeding groups. And I'm just so focused on it right now. It's really front of mind, keeping an eye on the pens. There's a lot of pens to tend, so it's takes me a little bit longer to do the chores, both morning and evening. But just, you know, it's a big deal, and I, like to keep track of how they're doing and stuff. So anyways, I think about them all the time, so I figured I would just give you an update on stuff that's happening with the breeding groups. I've got two documents here that we use as a reference for anytime we want to talk about or work on the breeding groups or remember what we did and stuff. And this is the first one. Yeah, it's reverse print, and I know that, but I showed this when we were setting up the groups. I had it with me outside, and it essentially it's every single pen, who's in the pens, and a little bit of information about the individual sheep that are in the pens. And what we've done is, when I set it up originally, I put everybody that could be bred, and we ended up taking 4 ewes out of the plan because they were just too, they didn't look hardy enough. I mean, they're healthy and everything, but we just didn't want to put them through another lambing year. So 4 got pulled out, and then we actually moved a couple sheep into different areas than we thought we would. So anyway, so this will be the reference, and I'm actually I need to write a blog post. I write a blog post every year about the breeding groups, and I use it more. When I look back, it's a really good record for who we put with who and what we thought, the reasons behind why we put them in the groups. And then the other document that I have is sort of a running document, and this is a little bit, a little coarse, but what we do is we watch the pens, and if we see any of the ewes getting bred, we mark down the date, and that way, when it comes time for lambing, we'll know, we'll have a basic idea of roughly when a ewe is going to lamb, and it's helpful to know that so that you can predict, because we'd like to be there when they have the lambs to make sure everything goes okay. So anyway, so this is my notes here. I just keep this in the kitchen, and when I come in from doing chores, if I notice that one of the rams was being particularly amorous towards a ewe, or a ewe was being receptive, I'll note it on here and put the date. So I have to write down. Yesterday I observed that Brienne was getting attention from Jon Snow, and I also noticed that she had some fresh mud on the back of her coat, so it's kind of like the paint. Some breeders are use, which we don't use. So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. And yeah, like I said, I am just obsessed with those groups out there, and I'll be going out in a few minutes here to check on them. But before I close, I do want to say thank you again for stopping by to watch the video. I hope you like it, and if you've got ideas for things that you'd like to see here on the farm, or equipment, or a wool craft or something that you would like to see, let me know in the comments. I do try to accommodate if somebody's got an interest or is curious about something. So please let me know if there's something that you'd like me to show you. And thanks again. I hope you liked the episode. Good morning. All right, so this is all the ewes that are either lambs or older, not ready for breeding. Good morning, Alice Paul. And this is my bottle baby. So what I normally do is open up the barn doors because the hay's already out there. There's the stampede. There goes Itasca. There's my babies. Now they're gonna make a... Aw, girls. So we made one small tweak to our breeding groups. This is the white ram in the center. That's Ophabia's white ram. He's got 3 ewes. That's ear with the white ear tag on the right. And Tovia, and I think it's Nita he's got. So what happened was the pen outside, we had them in a little wooden crate that we use for transport and stuff. It just got too wet and muddy and I couldn't stand it. So Rich and I brought in all these gates that I got at that pick at the farm. And they're in here nice and toasty and dry, which is awesome because that was stressing me out like crazy. I do have the electric buckets installed today. True sign of winter. And they all seem to be working. And there's their little mineral bucket. And a nice big serving of hay. It's nice, isn't it? So good. Look at all that luscious wool. Mm-mm. I did see him breed one, so it seems to be working. It'll be good. See what we get. So yeah, that's a sure sign of winter that I had to install electric buckets in the barn. Yesterday, December 7th, there was a coat of ice on it in the morning, so went ahead and put these in. It's kind of a hassle just figuring out all the outlets and extension cords and stuff, but so that's done and it's officially winter once that's in there, and those will stay in there till the spring. So another tweak we did, so that's that brown or wood crate we brought it in here, and this is Canterbury's group, so that there's now shelter for the 8 ewes that are in here, or 8 sheep, I guess, 7 ewes. We also took out Mrs. Hughes and Aria just because we saw them getting bred numerous times early on and figured we'd take them out to make more room. And then we also scraped this out Sunday, which is why I was late on my video last week. Get that over there. Why don't you feed us? I'm coming. But yeah, so we scraped this out because it was really wet. So now it's back down to the stone, loaded up the things with straw. You know, this is my first year being home full time during breeding, and it's hard for me to see them not in the barn. And it didn't bother me when I was working because I would leave before dark or before it got bright light out, and I was home at dark, so I never really saw it. I didn't think I'd have this reaction. I really just want them back in the barn where it's safe and they're all together, because that's how they like it. Right, girls? But you know what? They seem like they're doing okay now. So that's this group. No changes there. My boys, they still are in the same situation. They're doing good. And I did also Sunday broke out the electric buckets to keep the water from freezing. So every single pen has now got an electric bucket. So that feels good. They need the water in the winter just as much as they need it in the summer for metabolism and stuff. So I make sure they got a good source. And if it's really super cold, they won't drink it. So that's why you want to have the heated buckets. So they're doing good, growing beautiful wool for us. Oh, there goes this. Look at that. That's one of our neighborhood strays. We see him on the neighbor's porch all the time. I think it's a him. I don't know. I assume it's a him because he's got a little mustache. I'll show you this. You can just see because of where we scraped. Oh, Rich scraped out the Canterbury's pen, or no, Canterbury, Knightley's pen did a number on the ground out here, but it's alright. Fortunately, it's really cold today, so it's not muddy. Brienne's Rams group, so they're doing good. I feel comfortable with their accommodations right now. And I did see him do some work earlier in the week. Not sure if you can see it, but there's a tiny bit of steam coming off of this heated water bucket, which just makes me overflow with joy. You can't see it, but there is steam coming off of the bucket, and the water's not hot. I stuck my hand in there. It's just tepid. It's just the right temperature for them. So there's Jon Snow's group. So Locola and Rosemary are adjusting. There she is, very demanding, and there's something about her though. She's stolen my heart with her frenetic energy. And there's John with his snow coat, making sure his girls have something to eat. Playing Ring Around the Rosie. The cat was drinking out of the pond, and we put that little plop of concrete there at the end for that purpose, for critters to go on. And I actually saw a turtle on there one time. That was cool. So this is Loki's group. Everybody's doing good here. So I'm just now going around to all the pens to top off the water, check the minerals, and then I'm going back in the house because it's cold. It's a nice cold day. Okay, this is a huge deal. So I come out of the barn after doing all the waters, and what I find, this nail that I've been looking for 2 weeks. It's what I used to hold the buckets into the fencing, and it's been hiding here behind this piece of wood. It's all, hooray! I found it. Oh, I love that feeling. All right, so I've needled most of her fleece. So beautifully coiled and nice. And I'm just gonna take you through the final steps here, just to give you a sense for how I'm doing it. One thing I started doing is, if the fuzzy side that I'm needling in is too long, I snip that off, and then I'm gonna use those snippings for the ears or whatever other pieces I wanna use to create elements or feature. So what I've been doing is I kind of just sort of set the locks on the bare spot, kind of roughly the way I want it to be, and then starting on the one edge, I just grab some of the wool from that side of the blob of locks and just sort of run it around the perimeter. And I'm going to put my bifocals on just so I can see a little bit better. Okay. And then go to the other side and send it in. And anything that's like loose and fuzzy like this, I just needle that in, because you really want only the really well-formed coils to be left at the top. And then I go through the center, and you can see I'm starting now to push the coils down, which is okay. But I'm trying deliberately to not put the needle through the coiled bits, but more the base part. And there's a bit of fuzz here. Doesn't really add anything other than a background color for the coiled bits. All right, so now that lock is pretty much in there, but you can see that the lock coils are kind of willy-nilly. I like it to be more compact, not all loose and crazy like this. So I just kind of focus on each lock, each little coil, and get the fuzzies that surround it needled in. And once you know, when you start messing with the needle, you'll get a feel for it, because it not only does it push the fiber into your form, but you can also use it to place the decorative elements where you want them. So there's a little bit of a hole there, so I'm going to poke that in there. Nice and easy. Again, don't shove your coils in. And then once you've got it compacted enough, then just give everything a tiny tap just to get it more organized and in place. And then around the edges, so you can see this is still the bald patch here that needs to get filled in. Around the edges of where I've needled, for whatever reason, I think I just like the tidiness of it. I sort of shove them in so there's no loose base bits left. Oops. Okay, let's see here. So now I've got one lock. And you can put these, I used to do it one lock at a time, and that's perfectly fine. But I've just gotten to the point now where I'm comfortable enough doing a group of locks. Oops, sorry, trying to get this closer here. So you see I have quite a bit of excess there that I don't need. So now, like I said, instead of wasting it and needling all that wool in to my form, I'm going to make this little packet of fluff here. If I say I want to just do one lock at a time, which is perfectly fine, just lay it there, needle that into the base, and that, there you go. Totally acceptable. So did you notice that one piece I could not get it to go in just with my needle, so I'm going to hold it down a little bit and just force it. only got this much, like a Y left. I'm gonna start over on this end. Might be enough. All right, there's a patch here. Maybe that is fine. I feel the need to put a little bit more right there. Let's see what I can find here. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, there. I don't put a tail on these. I used to put a little fluke tail on the back end. So cute, but I don't anymore. I just load it up with curly bits. Okay, then what I do is just kind of shape it, kind of go around, just look for any little bits that are sticking out or anything that makes her uneven. She looks pretty good, actually. And I have done all of this. I do have a tool that allows me to accelerates the needling because there's 5 needles in there, I think. And it's nice, it's got this little safety catch to it. And this is clover makes this little plastic, and it locks so that you can, but I did not use that on this one. I mean, you can actually make this with just 1 needle. All right, so I think the next thing I want to do is I want to put her little top knot on there, her little wool on the pole, which is part of the Shetland standard. So let's find some particularly fetching curly bits. I like this little glob right here. And then I'm going to trim a little bit of that off. No point wasting it in the form when I can use it for something. Then I just do the same thing. Needle it into her head though. I start at the back and then I work a little forward. So I kind of cheat in the forms. I hot glue them together, so you'll find as you're needling stuff in, sometimes you might have a hard stop, which is where the glue is. You can poke right through the glue. It doesn't hurt anything. I should have a picture of Sylvia here so I can get a better sense for what she, oh my gosh. What she really looks like. Little precious thing. She looks like, I always think of these as looking like Lucille Ball. And I actually know the demographic of the people that watch my videos, so you all know who I'm talking about. And sometimes for the poll, I'll put a little bit of it on and then I come back and look at it because sometimes it looks weird to me, but I'm actually quite pleased. Oh my gosh. Could she be any cuter? Okay. So that's that. Then what I do, I dyed some wool, one of my very early and last forays into dyeing. I did a bunch of red and orange for holiday use. All right, so I'm gonna string this little bell, and I bought a bunch of these bells at one point. So you can do two things. One is, I suppose, you could make a little collar and just put it like that. I don't do that though. I make a little bow, and then I needle the bow into her neck. It all sounds so violent, but and the way that I needle it is, you can see there's still a little gap in the loop for the bell, which does jingle a tiny bit. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of those loose bits that I trimmed off. Find a longer one. You need something that has, maybe I'll take a lock. You need something that has some length to it. Yeah, this is good. So this is like a 3-inch length. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the tip and use that to feed it through. This is one of my unfavoritist parts of crafting, is threading needles. It just makes me crazy. And I'm definitely gonna probably have to edit this part out because I can't stand it. It's gotta be torture to watch me struggle with this, but whatever. Oh, thank God. Okay. And then I'm gonna trim off that end, because needling works better when you've got open fibers. Like spinning, drafting is better when you've got open fibers. So now I've got, 2 blobs of open wool here. And then I'm just gonna needle all of this wool into her neck. So really all you're gonna see is the bell and the bow. So watch this magical disappearing act. And then that holds the bell very fast to her sweet little neck. How can you stand it? Aren't you the cutest little thing? And like I said, I'll probably come back. I think I might have mussed her little top knot there. I'll come back with the needle, and I've been known to, I'll have these at a sale and somebody's actually taking it, and I'll grab my needle and quick fix her up a little bit. That's that. Super fun, super cute. You could probably string this and make a little, Christmas tree ornament, or not. Just put her on the shelf. It's a sweet little girl. Oh, my dear, dear. Hi everybody, I'm here with one of our ewes that we bred here on the farm. This is Mrs. Hughes, and she's a really beautiful, soft, fawn spotted catmugget. And from the name, she came from the year that we named our sheep after Downton Abbey characters, and that was in 2016. So she's 4 years old. We had her in a breeding pen at the very beginning. She was in Knightley's group, and Knightley had a really large group. And we decided to take her out a little bit early because we saw her getting bred, and his group was so big that we just wanted to take some of the sheep out. So we decided to take Mrs. Hughes out. So she's in with the nursing home set and the lambs now. Mrs. Hughes is a really special ewe on the farm. She's got a beautiful dark fleece. She's a darker catmugget. She is out of Whispering Pines Kelly Kelly. We don't have Kelly Kelly any longer. She was a Moret ewe, really nice. Came out of some of our AI lines. And then her sire was Mr. Darcy, who was very handsome. He was a gray catmugget. So Kelly Kelly was a Moret, so that means that Mrs. Hughes carries
brown. And of the 4 offspring that she's given us, 3 of them were brown based. So sort of went against the odds. It's a 25% chance to get brown. And that's what we got. The one gray cat we got out of her is Ear, who was part of the Nordic group, named after Nordic gods. Ear is in a breeding group this year, so we'll be excited to see how she turns out. Mrs. Hughes is also spotted. Her baby pictures, her face is really bright white, and she's got like a cookies and cream appearance. So she does throw spots, and if her sheep don't exhibit spots, they could carry them. So I'm going to I want to take a close-up shot of her fleece just because I'm so enamored with it. And then I'm going to introduce you to her 2 ewe lambs from this year. So she actually, there's 3 sheep in our flock now that she is the mother to. One of them is Ear, and the other ones were twin ewes from last year, Mabel and Matilda. Corva is another one of her lambs. Corva was actually moved on this year. She was a nice Morit ewe. She gave us a beautiful, flashy fawn cat mugget. So we decided to let Corva go, which was really difficult because she was really, really pretty, wasn't she? So yeah, so now what I'm going to do is it's going to lift up the coat and give you a close-up shot of Mrs. Hughes' just gorgeous fleece. Okay? All right, honey? All right, so I've got the coat lifted up. It's kind of tricky to do. Now her fleece it's really locky, so it's not as blocky as some of the Shetland fleeces, but that's not an issue for me. And she's also the type where I always thought she just had short lock structure, but it turns out that I was shearing her too early. So I rued her last year. This is what you get in a fleece that was rued. So those tips are the real tips from if she had shed her fleece. But just so this is a 4-year-old ewe. Really crimpy and soft, and it's just the color is what kills me. I just love that dark charcoal. Usually on the cat muggets, this top stuff is a little lighter, but because she's a darker cat mugget. And I mean, the other thing too with her, I'm going back here to the britch now. Just even still nice and fine and consistent. Great handle, nice density. Just a terrific girl, aren't you? You're such a beauty. I love this girl. So we've got probably another 4 or 5 years of breeding with her, which makes me happy. Okay, so this is the first of Mrs. Hughes' twins from last year. Her name is Mabel, and I'll lift up her coat in a second, but you see she's got this little brown patch here. So somebody that just was looking at her would think she was a white ewe with a brown spot, when actually she's a brown ewe with a massive white spot. So her fleece is going to be white, but from a genetic standpoint, she's brown. So she's picking up the brown that Mrs. Hughes is carrying. And she was actually, Rush was her sire, who also carries brown. And so there you go. The odds of 25% getting a brown-based ewe, we did. And so this is her, such a pretty girl. And you'll remember last year our naming convention was naming them after activists that were key in getting the 19th Amendment passed 100 years ago. Now these ewes, you remember, are halter trained, so it's a little bit easier to work with them. You're so pretty. All right, let's look at your fleece, see what we got. Okay. So this is going to be a lamb fleece. Yes, that's right. Oh boy. Let's see. So she's got, you see there's a little bit of brown fawny color there. Can you see it? Yeah. And this is really soft and really good length already. Hooray. Okay. So, just really pretty luster. Nice crimp, really good length. And then we always like to go back and look at the breech, which normally with sheep it's coarse. It is a little bolder. I'm not sure if I'm getting it. Than her main part of her fleece, but it's crazy soft. So yeah, so this fleece is gonna have little flecks of brown in it. You see that? It's not dirt. All over the place. That's gonna be a fun one. Oops, excuse me. So there's that. All right, so who did I say that was? That was Mabel. This is Matilda. Come on, crazy eyes. So this is Mrs. Hughes's other lamb. It's the twin of the one we just saw, Mabel's twin. So she's got a lot more spotting, obvious spotting on her face. That's actually a marking called smerslet. So like with horses, when they got that white blaze, we call that smerslet in this breed. Put your face up there. Yes, thank you. And I'm gonna turn the camera around and we're gonna take a look at her fleece. Okay? Yes, I forgot about this. She's spotted, like, dramatic. So, if this goes as a fleece, the nice thing about this is you're gonna have two colors in a little lamb fleece. My lamb fleeces are never that big. They're usually about a pound or more. Ever so slightly more, but let's just take a look. Ooh, nice. So she's got a really pretty, oh man. I haven't really looked at my lamb fleeces too much. My camera, focus, there we go. Jeez. Let's take a look at your moret, see if that looks the same. It does. Oh, you are a treasure. Oh my goodness, nice length. Let's take a look at your breech, shall we? It's hard to do this. I'm not a helper. Yeah, that's, you don't even have any breech, do ya? This is why I like when I talk about making mill spun yarns and comb top for my breech wool. It's really not, I'm trying to get you in here, not like your typical coarse breech. I can't stop looking at this. So she's out of Russian Mrs. Hughes. Hers is a little denser than her sister's, I would say, but it's hard because if you have somebody helping you, you can get a better look. It's nice. Oh, it's so nice. So if these guys rue, which I'm going to bet that they will, I'll be able to rue them early. Oh my gosh, I wish you could feel this. And these will be available as rude fleeces. I can't sound like my phone battery died, thank goodness.